In this video, I'm going to share a little bit more of my story of how I learned classical piano, but it's going to be from the perspective of how to master the mindset of practicing, because practicing an instrument requires a very specific mindset. And I have seen through years of teaching lots and lots of students that students who do have this mindset succeed really, really well, and students who don't have this mindset are not able to learn as quickly or enjoy the process as much as students who do. So we're going to dive into the mindset, dive into the story. A lot of my other videos are very education based. We're at the piano talking about different piano topics, and I think that's really cool. But in some of these future videos, I wanted it to be more story based and just share parts of my life that brought me to where I am today in terms of teaching piano and playing piano. And in this video, I'm specifically going to dive into learning to play classically and all of the journey that started from about age 8 up to age 14. And then at age 14, something really significant happened. I'm going to have to cover that in another video. And then at age 15, something else significant happened. So this is just video 1 of this series. But the first 8 to 14, how many years is that? 6 years of my piano journey begins when I first started with the Faber piano books. So I was so excited. And before we really get into the story, let me just say there's 5 specific things we're going to cover with mindset. And these 5 things take a student who is mediocre at an instrument versus setting them apart as an exceptional musician. So with these 5 things, that's what we're going to focus on in terms of mindset. But before we get into mindset, I am going to cover a little bit of my story in terms of learning piano. So I loved music. I'd been in choir, in group children's choirs, even before I started piano. So from age 6 to age 7, I was already in choir a couple years. I loved everything about music. We had a piano at the house, and my mom would play us a few piano songs, and I loved sitting down, hearing what she was playing. I would go and sit at the piano and just want to play every day. And I would ask my mom for lessons every day. Can I please take piano lessons? And she just didn't jump on that desire right away. She wanted to see if it was going to stick and if it was going to stay, and which I think is so smart as a parent. After being a teacher and then having different parents with different scenarios sign their kids up for music lessons, I think it is so important for the child to really want to have those music lessons themselves. So if there's that desire there and it's a desire that stays, then I think it is something worth pursuing and sticking with. So I'd wanted to take piano lessons, and I tinkered around with the piano, tried to play different songs for a whole entire year before I was given lessons. And so I would try to learn music, I would try to learn these songs. It was something I enjoyed from day 1. And then for Christmas, I got this stack of piano books and a note that said, "You're going to have your first lesson on Tuesday." I was just ecstatic. I remember my very first lesson. I was super blessed with an awesome teacher. I think she was probably the best teacher I could have ever had. And I think the reason why she was so good was because she taught in a really fun way and required excellence, but didn't demand outrageous perfection. And I do think that when a student is learning an instrument or learning anything, this could be related to piano or another instrument or even just any other kind of skill. When you're given an excellence bar, but then you're also required to play each and every song so perfectly, it can stunt your opportunity to play a variety of songs well. And after learning to play a variety of songs well, at that point, then you get really good at sight reading, and the better you get at sight reading, the better you get at learning new pieces, and the more new pieces you learn, the more your skills improve quicker. So I'm a fan of play it well, but not perfect, but then move on to the next song and play that one well, play the next song well, learn multiple songs at a time, and it's all going to accumulate to this broader range of knowledge than to just focus on one particular song and play that one so much that you end up burning out of music. And I think a lot of students and kids end up having that approach taught to them, which is super sad, because then they focus so much on one song and then end up burning out just from that one piece, when really there was a whole plethora of other material they could have been playing and choosing from. And I do think it is up to the teacher, up to the discretion of the teacher to know when it's time to move on to the next piece and to know when and how they can help their student achieve better skills at that current piece. So the 5 mindsets. The first mindset, which I think is so important, and it should be a given, but the first thing is, do you desire to play this instrument? Do you want to play this instrument? Does this come from you, something that you want? Or is it a pressure that's been put on you? Or is it something that you think is good, but it's not quite what you want to do? And so this could be for a parent or a child. I've taught a lot of elementary age students, but I suppose I am thinking of this from the perspective of more so adult students. But if someone wants to play an instrument and that desire is there, then I think they're going to do really well. If the desire is to go play something else, like guitar or a different instrument, I think the best thing to do would be to ideally focus on that other instrument. Sometimes people start piano because you can see all the music theory. The reason you can see music theory on piano versus other instruments is because every single note, whether it's the white or the black keys, represents a pitch in music, whereas other instruments like guitar, you have different strings, but you have multiple strings and you can play the same note on various different strings, but the frets all represent half steps. It's a little bit more tricky to see the notes on guitar. It's impossible to see notes on woodwind instruments, and piano is the only instrument that has every single note on the staff laid out in a visual way where we can see it. So there is one benefit of starting with piano, even if that's not your ideal instrument, and that benefit is that you can see music theory, and it is the most ideal instrument to learn music theory on. So the first mindset, number 1, is that I'm doing this because I just desire to do this. I want to do this. It sounds fun. It sounds enjoyable. So the second mindset is something that I really do think separates students that learn fast and learn well from students who can tend to struggle a little bit more, and it's kind of a weird one, but it's gamify the process. So I'd always thought about piano this way. I don't know if other students do think about it this way or don't, but to me, piano practice is a game. You're trying to master the notes, the rhythm, the musicality, and the whole thing. It's not a process of I have to play this song perfectly and I have to do this well from day one. It's a thing of I will conquer this song. I will learn measure 1. I will learn measure 2, measure 3, measure 4, score 1, score 2, score 3, score 4. I'm going to learn the whole song, the whole first page, and then I'm going to go and try to work out any difficult parts in the piece. I think the reason why this mindset separates students' success levels is because students who treat it as a game really do enjoy the process of ironing out the difficult spots in their song. And students who just want to play the piece well and just zip on after trying to master the piece or just perfect it really quickly end up just not practicing the difficult spots. And there's kind of this fear like, oh, that spot's hard in this piece. I don't really want to dig into that part of the song. Whereas students who look at it like a game take those spots that are tricky and those spots that are hard and they say, oh yeah, that's the spot I'm going to master. That's the spot I'm going to get really good at. And so this mindset also allows a student to take certain parts of the piece and really hone in and focus on those. And so, which leads us to mindset number 3. Mindset number 1 was desire. Do you do this because you enjoy it? Mindset number 2 was gamify the song. Mindset number 3 is a continuation of gamify the song, but it's almost like passing different levels of the gamification of your piece. Because level 1 can be learning the rhythm. Level 2 can be learning right hand and then learning left hand. Level 3 can be putting both hands together. Students who shortcut this process end up prolonging the learning journey in the long run, because if they just want to jump in and try both hands, then it just is really difficult, whereas they could have had easy success with the right hand, easy success with the left hand, put it together, and it's just firing all these synapses in your brain, and you're just succeeding and playing it well, but you need to go in steps. So students who gamify it, but who hone in on specific instances of that piece that they're working through, end up succeeding better because they're patient. So taking it as different levels in the piece. Level 1, learn the rhythm. Level 2, learn the right hand notes. Level 3, learn the left hand notes. Level 4, put it together. My teacher would always tell me to practice like that, right hand, left hand, hands together. And then level 5, oh, this is where it gets fun. So this is where we add the musicality of our piece. Once you know the rhythm, which is the first thing, well, this begs a good question. I bet this will be a fun one to discuss in the comments, but what's more important first in a piece? Knowing the rhythm, learning the rhythm, getting good at the rhythm, or learning the notes and getting good at the notes? Oh, that's a big debate because they both are really important and they both do come first. I suppose you'd want to practice each one separately, which there's a whole thing on learning notes that I'm going to cover at some point in a different video, how to learn sheet music from A to Z. I have the whole A to Z piano series. So this one, once you learn the notes, once you learn the rhythm, then we put those together. And it brings us to are we on level 4 or 5? About there. This level is where we take all the technical parts of a song, the notes, the rhythm, and we make it musical. So now, not only are we focusing on playing the right rhythm in our piece and playing the right notes, but now we're focused on playing it with phrasing, and now we're focused on adding articulation. So phrasing would be, instead of just playing the notes like da 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 da, instead of just playing them with this monotone energy, we're going to make it dynamic. We're going to start soft, then we're going to expand that sound and then bring it back down, almost like we're going over a hill. The phrases are either just a line over or they're a line under. So you want to follow that line at the point of the highest part of the phrase or the lowest part of the phrase. You want that energy, dynamicy of that part of your piece to swell, and then you want it to come back down. So da 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 da. We want to incorporate more of that kind of feeling in our piece. And then articulation. This would be adding in things like staccato and staccato ba 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 ba. So maybe the first couple notes are written as staccato, and then we have this phrase ba 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 da 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 da, something like that. We want to expand the expressiveness of this piece and do it in a way where we're still focusing on the rhythm and we're still focusing on the notes, but now we're making the whole thing dynamic. Now level 5 is putting it all together, adding the pedal where it needs to be. And this is the part where we go and we listen to what we've played. So we're playing in real time, we're also thinking, how is this song expressing musically what I'm trying to communicate here? And then we're also thinking, how am I listening to this piece as I play? What's it sounding like? Is it sounding good? Is there anything I need to change? Do I like the sound of this piece? How's it going? And this is the part that separates outstanding students from mediocre students. If you get to the point where you've practiced your song and you've been playing it, and you can step back and listen to your own playing while you're playing it, this is where you're kind of hyper aware of the whole situation because you're practicing, you're thinking, but then you're also critiquing all at the same time. And once you can be listening to your own music while you're playing that music, then you've reached the point where you can really begin to develop some true musicality in your songs. Okay, so we've talked about a few different mindsets. 1 is desire. Do you desire to play this instrument? 2 is gamify. And then 3 is mastering the different levels of gamification in your piece, so to say. And the gamification is there so that we know that this is not just a monotone experience. This is dynamic. The 4th mindset in all of this is the loop mindset. And this is where it gets really, really exciting. So I find this fascinating and enthralling. This is the most exciting part for me. But the loop mindset is a continuation of mindset 2 and mindset 3. But the loop mindset is, once I get to the end of this song, now I have completed one part of my practice. Now I'm going to go back, and with this fresh energy, this fresh insight, I've just practiced through a few of these things. I'm going to go back and I'm going to play it again, but I'm going to be more aware of what I'm doing this time around and build off the previous time. So sometimes there's this idea with practicing an instrument that, oh, I just whizzed through the song once and I'm done. Whereas if you're gamifying it and you're trying to get better at different parts of your piece and you're doing that, and then you start listening to your piece as you're playing it, once you get to the very end, there's this thought that I think I could do that and I think I could do it better. And now I'm aware of what I want to do better. So then you go back, you start at the beginning again, and you work your way through. This part of the piece really does become significant when you can notice, this one part of the song needs work, or this one part of the song needs more practice. And that's where you can go back and pause and work through it. Excellent students know that they can take time to stop and really work out the challenge of one particular spot, make it sound better, maybe focus on the phrasing, maybe the articulation, maybe the dynamics, which I've been using the word dynamicy in this video, but dynamics refer to the volume that you're playing. So forte would be loud, piano would be soft, mezzo forte, medium loud, mezzo piano, medium soft. So you want to incorporate dynamics into your piece, articulation, phrasing, and make it sound extremely musical. So as we're doing all this, as we're playing, and then as we're looping back around, you get to the end, there's this excitement of, oh, I can do it again, but I think I can do it better. And that's where I think it's fun to compete with yourself a little bit and then go back and try to do it better, see if it can sound better. The only way I think a student can have fun competing with themselves as they're practicing is if they truly are listening to their own playing as they're playing. So it's this multi-layered concentration effort. When I was taking lessons and practicing, I would set my timer for the exact minute that I started, and I would practice and I would give it 100% of my focus until the exact minute that I stopped, and I would write down the minutes that I practiced every day. So one day it would be 22 minutes. The next day it would be 17 minutes. The next day it would be 18 minutes. I'd write down exactly the number of minutes that I practiced. And I think that was really good and important because that's a clear cut of my energy is 100% focused. Here's the start time. And then I'm going to keep that up. And then it's going to stop completely. There is no half-hearted practicing. And also this helps to maximize the time that you do practice. It helps it be more efficient, but it also helps that when you are practicing, every time you practice with that 100% mindset, you're giving it your full go. You're giving it your full concentration. You're giving it your full effort. And once you do that enough times, you get in this mode where when you sit down on the bench, it's almost like your brain turns off all distractions and then it's quiet, it's focused. Here we go. And that's the mindset that really can let you enter into some incredibly efficient and fun and dynamic practice methods. Okay, so we've covered a few different practice methods in this video. Is there any more? The very last one, and I would say this is the bonus practice method. This one I learned from my second piano teacher, and she was someone where I would go and I would sit down in my lesson, and she would just pick out all these pieces, all this repertoire, and play it for me and see which song I liked. And it had to be a song, if I were to rate it, 1 from 10. It had to be about a 9 or a 10 of, oh yeah, I really like this song. I really want to play it. And then we would focus on that one. But the thing that I liked about that teaching approach is she would play a song and I would hear it and I would go, oh yeah, that's amazing, but I have absolutely no idea how I'm going to play this. This is where you go from kind of the elementary level where you see a song, you're like, I can play that, to I don't know how to play that. That was just phenomenal. And this is where it gets so fun, because then we did work through each measure, we did work through those spots together, and to be able to produce sounds and musicality that you see someone else doing. I saw my teacher playing this beautiful, beautiful way with these beautiful pieces, and then to be able to conquer something that you didn't think you'd be able to do is one of the most rewarding things in music. Now, as a bonus, there's going to be 2 bonuses to this video. I mentioned also before how I was going to put the little trick to learning notes on the staff in another video, but I also think it'd be fun to just give the quick rundown here. So learning notes on the staff can be the most crippling thing for anyone who just skips over this certain aspect of music and of piano, of any instrument really. And I realized this when I became a piano teacher, and when I realized that, oh my goodness, if there are students that make it through level 1 without learning the notes on the staff and the note names on the staff, and then they make it into level 2, they can flounder their way along okay, but then by the time you get to level 3, it's just going downhill from there. You really can't fake it all the way through all the levels. You can fake it through level 1 or 2 and just memorize your piece really quick at the lesson and then come back and make it look like you know the notes, but you can't fake it if you want to do well in music. So I ended up creating scenarios where students absolutely couldn't fake it. Like, we would sit down at the piano and name the notes one by one. I would just take a pencil, point to a note. What is this note? And I was amazed how many students went, I don't know what that note is. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness. Because in my mind, if you see a note, you need to memorize where it is on the staff. You need to know exactly that spot. You need to be able to say it at a moment's notice. And choir really helped in this. One exercise we did in choir was our choir teacher would sit at the piano, line up all the choristers, and they would go up to the piano person one at a time, and she would be just coloring in notes on the staff as quickly as she could write them, and we'd be trying to keep up with naming the notes. E, A, F, G, C, D, E. It was just boom, boom, boom. Just zip it through and learn to spot these notes, name them very quickly. And I found that certain notes had a certain feeling on the staff. Like, I would see, for example, treble clef, C, we know middle C. Middle C is kind of easy. And then E is the first line. G is the second line. A is right above G. B is the middle line. Treble E is the top space. You just need to know all these different notes. So, wow, my foot is going so numb. My foot just got so numb in this video. That is so uncomfortable. Oh man, it hasn't been this numb in a long time. Okay, I'm just gonna sit like this. So, learning all those notes and learning to just name them extremely quickly was a really helpful exercise. And it is one of the things that can take the longest for a student to learn, but it's one of the most rewarding and important things for a student to know if they're going to succeed well in some of the other levels. So setting up a good foundation with music early on is so important, and this does fall on the teacher. It also does fall on the student for the teacher to take time to ask their student, do you know this note? Do you know that note? And to review those materials. And then for the student to be able to go home and really take some time to memorize those notes. Oh, my foot is getting so tingly right now. Ooh, all right. So we went over a lot of different mindsets for piano and for learning classical piano. And I just wanted to share mainly the Gamify approach because I found that that was so helpful. Oh, okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, my leg is still super numb. I did not expect that would happen. Just sitting out here in the grass filming a video. Wow. The very, very last mindset that I wanted to discuss and didn't end up, I forgot about, I think it was number 5. It was, did I just forget it again? It'll come back. Wow, I think I totally forgot this mindset again. It's the most important one. What was it? Oh, okay, I got it. So it's the mindset of eliminating all resistance. So for whatever reason, it was always just fun and easy to sit down at the piano, open the book, and just get started right away. There was nothing holding me back. In fact, I felt like learning piano, practicing piano even, a lot of practicing piano, it just felt like taking a break from all other aspects of life. It felt like, here's my happy moment. Here's where I can go and relax. Here's where I can go and think. Here's where I can go and process just through the day. And it was the go-to happy place. And I think one thing that holds students back from succeeding well is that there's just such resistance to just sitting down and practicing. And this can be true of many things in life. There is that book called The War of Art. not the art of war, the war of art. And in this book, one of the primary things the author talks about is this concept that most artists and creatives go through is resistance. There's resistance to getting started on that project that you've always wanted to do, that you always think is going to be so much fun. Once you push through that resistance and get to the other side of that and you do the thing, there's this immense amount of reward and relief of, oh, I just did the thing that I've been wanting to do so long, but there was just this invisible barrier holding me back. And I think a lot of students do experience that with wanting to practice their instrument. They think, oh, it's going to be so hard to sit down and to get out my books and to start practicing. But if you can think of it as, I just want to succeed at the first note. I just want to enjoy hearing the sounds, seeing how I can do playing measure one, seeing how I can do playing the whole first line. If you can incorporate all of that into this, how quickly can I get into the game? How quickly can I jump into this practice? It can make the idea of practice a whole lot more easy to do. And I almost liken this to the concept of playing Wordle. I love Wordle so much, and it's fun to play every day. It's a fun little challenge, and it's just easy. You just open the app and you play Wordle. There's really nothing holding you back except, I just thought about Wordle today. And in fact, you're probably going to go play Wordle after this video, maybe. So I think that the easier it is to just sit down and practice, the easier it'll be to learn piano, and the easier it'll be to enjoy the whole process. One way you can make it easier is just have the books right there, out ready to go. Have an assignment sheet out ready to go. Have easy wins. Conquer line 1, play line 1 really well. See if you can play the whole page 1 really well. See if you can play the whole song musically. Be listening as you're playing. So it's just a very active kind of participation. It's like you're actively participating in your own piano practice. And this is the way I viewed it. This is the way that I think it should be taught. I think it'd be really cool if teachers would think to teach this mindset to their students, because I don't think it comes just naturally. Sometimes it can be this thing of, oh man, I'm trying to learn piano. And I have had students every now and then where their parents sign them up just because they think it'd be a good skill to learn, and I think that's okay. But I think for the most part, it really needs to be because the student wants to learn, and it needs to be because they think piano's fun and exciting and inviting. And when you have that as your motivation, you're just unstoppable as a musician. So I hope this video was an encouragement. Hope it was fun. And in the next story video, I'm going to be getting into what happened when I was 14. It was just something super cool with piano, and it wasn't necessarily classical piano, but it was something else. And in the video after that, I'm going to get into what happened when I was 15, which was that's a whole entire other story as well. So until next time.